Okay, let's get into it. Today, we are doing a deep dive on the Makera Z1 CNC machine.
Right. And there's a lot of talk around this one, a lot of conflicting reports.
There really is. So our mission today is to kind of dissect that. Is the Z1 this genuine leap forward in making fabrication easy? Or is it maybe just an underpowered tool with a really nice case?
A lot of polish.
Yeah, a lot of polish. And I think the first thing that jumped out at me from the sources is just it doesn't feel like a hobbyist kit.
Not at all. It presents like a finished, a consumer product.
Exactly. Which is such a massive psychological jump from the typical DIY kits where you almost feel like you need an engineering degree just to start.
And that's the whole value proposition, isn't it? It's not about raw horsepower. It's about lowering that barrier to entry,
That frustration level.
the frustration level.
Okay, I agree on the ecosystem, but let's get specific. The sources talk a lot about the integrated camera, auto-probing, auto-leveling. Why does that camera matter so much?
Because it just kills the complexity of zeroing your workpiece.
Okay.
Traditionally, you could spend, 10, 15 minutes just fiddling around manually, making sure the bit is exactly where you want it.
Right, and if you get it wrong, you ruin your stock.
You ruin your stock. These integrated systems do that for you instantly.
Yeah.
And that efficiency is what makes it so appealing to, say, an artist or a product designer, people who want to make things, not become CNC technicians.
It's the I might actually use this factor.
Exactly.
All those little convenience features. It's quiet enough for a home studio. It has the enclosure. Dust control is good. Quick tool changes. It all just removes the intimidation.
It does. It makes it approachable.
So, okay, we've established it's a usability winner. But engineering is always about compromise. We have to ask, where did Makera make the sacrifice to get that size and that price point?
It's the cutting capacity. That's the core trade-off.
The spindle.
Yeah, the spindle is a pretty modest 150 watts.
And what does that mean in practice?
Well, for softer materials, wood, MDF, acrylic, plastics, PCBs, it's totally fine. It handles them perfectly. But when you get to light aluminum, you can do it, but the sources all stress that you need patience. That 150-watt limit means what might be a 15-minute job on another machine becomes a very careful 45-minute cut.
You're doing very shallow passes.
Extremely shallow passes. So if you're looking for that aggressive metal cutting sound, you're not going to get it. This is more of a gentle hum.
And what about structurally? I saw they used lead screws, not the more expensive ball screws. For anyone listening, why is that a fundamental compromise on precision?
It comes down to rigidity and backlash. Lead screws are just inherently less rigid and have more play in them than ball screws.
Okay.
So you just can't reliably hold those, micro-level tolerances you'd need for production parts, which is why the optional fourth axis, for example, is clearly aimed at makers doing cool contours, not a production shop.
So it's not chasing ultra-tight tolerances.
No, that's not its game at all.
So when we put it all together, what does this all mean? Who is the Z1 actually for?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. It's for anyone who wants that friendly, modern desktop experience and prioritizes it over, say, maximum rigidity or raw power for their dollar.
The artist, the prototyper, the educator we mentioned.
Exactly. And it's important to remember its origins, too. This came out of a huge Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
And while that shows how much appeal it has, that background can sometimes lead to, early batch quirks. Some sources noted initial cooling issues on the first run, for example. No one thinks it replaces a proper shop CNC.
Of course not. But for its audience, it sounds like it delivers.
It delivers on that promise of convenience, yes.
So here's something for you to mull over. If convenience and a lower intimidation factor really do start winning out over pure performance, how quickly do we see these highly polished consumer product fabrication tools become standard? Like a printer, just expected equipment in a home office or a studio.
That's the real question, isn't it?
It seems like that shift might already be happening.